Hello folks and welcome back to Shogun Total War. I am Step and oh man, Shogun, it has been just too long. I never really intended to leave you. I never intended to leave you behind. When I did switch this channel's focus from Shogun to Medieval, I intended to keep playing Shogun throughout, and I was doing some historical battles, but I've missed this campaign and I'm really excited to be getting back into it. Before that happens, I do want to kind of talk to any new channel members who don't really know what the channel's about. So this is what I've been doing. I've been playing each of the Total War games basically on their 20th anniversary. This is my discovery of the franchise. This is me discovering Total War for the first time. I am someone who did learn of Total War through YouTube, and I've been watching Total War on YouTube for many years, but I hadn't actually played any of the games until the year 2020. I can't quite put my finger on it, but something about that year made it so that I had a lot more time on my hands, and I did start playing video games again. And with that, I decided to start this channel that allowed me to kind of document my journey through this franchise that I've just since become very obsessed about. And the way that this works is that even though I'm just celebrating these games on their 20th anniversaries, I'm not just playing one campaign and then moving on. What I'm doing is I'm playing that game for its quote-unquote game life. So I would play Shogun for essentially 2 years before it was time for me to celebrate Medieval Total War's 20th anniversary, and that's what I'm currently doing right now. Is I'm doing a deep dive into Medieval Total War. But I do want to get back into Shogun. I want to dive back into another campaign here. I really do miss it. And what I'm really looking forward to right now is that I believe, because I have a little bit of perspective now on, I know, I was going to say a newer Total War game, but yeah, Medieval Total War has given me a different perspective now on Shogun. And there's things that I like about Shogun better than Medieval Total War. But of course, there's also going to be quality of life features in Medieval Total War that do make that game easier to play. So I'm excited to get back into this and kind of experience this game with a new perspective. I'm also excited to get back into this and play Shogun with everything that I've learned now of playing this game. Now, when I start playing these games, when I start recording these games, whether it's Shogun or whether it's Medieval, I did make sure that I had at least 300 hours of experience playing the games just to kind of get my feet wet and kind of know what I was doing. With that being said, I've of course learned so much more in the years since I have been playing them, so I'm really excited to get back into Shogun with some of the things that I've learned since then, either me learning things on my own, or whether it's been viewers and subscribers telling me how I've been wrong, or telling me how they prefer to play the game. That's what's been the most fun about this experience, is hearing about your stories playing this game when you were a lot younger, and you know how you enjoyed it and how you preferred to play and what strategies you like to use and all that fun stuff. It's just been really fun for me. So if you are new to the channel and you love these games, you're in the right spot. So consider hanging out, consider subscribing and dropping a like and all that fun stuff, and consider going down to the comment section and talking to me and, you know, kind of introducing yourself and your experience with this franchise and with these games. That'd be really fun to get to know you. So, and also for those of you who are returning channel members, hey, welcome back. It's been great having you. It's been a freaking ride, and I really just enjoy all of the support that I've been getting. It's just been overwhelming. It's hard to put into words. Maybe one of these days I can write something and put it into a video so I can really say this correctly, but thank you so much. So that's about a decent length, I think, for an intro. So let's get down into this, okay? I'm gonna play a game and full campaign. I do play my campaigns on expert. Now, some of you that have been with this channel for a while are probably wondering, what is there left to play for this game? As after all, I did play all 7 factions on the Sengoku Jedi campaign, which is the base campaign for this game. And I also played both factions that are available with the Mongol invasion campaign as well. So what is left? Well, there's actually 3 more campaigns. That's what's left. And I'm really looking forward to getting into these because they look like they provide very different experiences. So this is the campaign that I'm going to be playing next, which is the 1530 campaign. Ironically, 1530 is also the start date for the Sengoku Jedi campaign. Now, just so you know, this is way more historically accurate than this one is. This is not what anything looked like in Japan in the year 1530. Now, that being said, I should really shoot out a disclaimer right away. I don't know a lot about this time period. I know some things, but I am in no way, shape, or form a historian or even an amateur historian. I know some things, and I'll leave it at that. And that's another thing that you can, by all means, correct me anytime I say something that's wrong. Please do. So with the year 1530, this is going to be the more historically accurate start date that I will be playing with. At some point down the line, I would love to play the 1550 campaign and then the 1580 campaign. I've heard wonderful things about this campaign, and I am very much looking forward to playing this at some point, but I do want to start with the 1530 campaign. Now, in my time that I've been practicing this campaign, which isn't, you know, I've just spent a few hours in it, but as you can see, all of that white part on the map is rebel held, and the actual factions themselves start with a very small amount of territory. And the way that the rebel factions work in this game is that they essentially are all on the same side, which that part is not historically accurate. That was not, you know, how that worked, of course. They're supposed to represent individual minor clans. However, in this game, they all kind of like work together. What that means is that once you start attacking the rebel territories, which should be immediately, then you're at war with every other rebel faction, every other rebel province on the entire map. And that can teach you some very harsh lessons very early on. And it can lead to a pretty slow buildup for this campaign, because you have to make sure that you can take on whatever the rebels throw at you if you're going to push into their territory. It can be kind of like what's a good analogy? It's like trying to move through magnets. You know, like they'll just magnetically like attack your attacking army if you push deeper into rebel territory. That's my best attempt at an analogy there. So anyway, I think for this one, as always, I do play they take all the provinces of Japan. That's going to be the conditions of victory that I play with. I don't think these other conditions are really interesting. I don't think so. The 40 of 60 regions seems like a short campaign, which it already is a pretty short campaign, so I don't think that this is necessary. Eliminate the rival clans. That also feels a little bit short, but a little bit longer than the 40 of 60. It's just that sometimes the rebel clans can have daimyos that suicide themselves by kind of throwing themselves at your armies, and they can just die out a little bit too fast. The keep your clan alive for 70 years. That actually sounds interesting if you decide to hold yourself only to like a certain territory or an amount of territory and just play tall and see if you can actually survive the onslaught for the entire campaign. That's something that I would consider doing at some point down in the future. For instance, if I was playing the Shimazu and I just forced myself to hang on to Kyushu and that's it, not attack. See, if you play this condition as if you are the attacker, then it's just going to end up like this condition. You know, take all the provinces of Japan. Because you can definitely accomplish that within 70 years. That's very, very easy to do. So this condition is only going to be interesting if you play it as like, you're going to play tall. You know, you're just going to hang on to your regions, build them up, and try to survive the onslaught of the enemy factions. Maybe someday I'll do that. But for now, I just want to play it the standard way. Take all of the provinces of Japan. That is the goal of, you know, being the Shogun, I suppose. So let's choose that clan, and I do want to play as the Shimazu. This is the campaign that I've had a little bit of experience with in this, in the 1530 campaign. So this is going to show me, or show us, my starting units. I can talk more about that once I get into the campaign map itself. And I can read this to you. So based in the southern half of Kyushu, the Shimazu are in a position of relative security from which to launch their campaigns of expansion. Their swordsmen are amongst the greatest in Japan, and they are prepared to take advantage of new ideas, even if they come from over the seas. So their strategic advantages are that the Shimazu can recruit and maintain Nodachi samurai for a lower cost, and the nearby important resources are that the Satsuma province is famous for the honor and skill of its Nodachi samurai. I can talk more about all of that stuff once we get into the campaign itself, so without further ado, I believe we do have a cutscene, so I'll press start game and we can watch it.
As was my father, I was born with a sword in my hand. I will spend my life in battle with that sword, and I will die fighting or see my enemies dead before me. This has always been the way in my land. That was my father's way, and I honor his memory. Perhaps my son will honor mine. Once the Shogun kept order in Japan, and the emperor cared for all of us under heaven. There was peace between the daimyo, the great lords that owned the land. But that was a lifetime ago. One day, a daimyo will come to save Japan and bring peace. But will I be the one? Will I see this come to pass?
I love that they wrote another dialogue for another video. Even though the video itself reuses a few scenes that we've already seen before, it also uses some scenes that we haven't. So it's just really cool that they did that for a campaign that unfortunately a lot of people probably haven't played this actual campaign. So yes, here we are with the Shimazu. This is all we have. Starting off with, we have just 3 provinces, and these provinces are very, very poor. Most of the provinces on the Kyushu island are dirt poor. It's not even worth a single farm upgrade. I'm telling you, don't do it. Don't spend the time or the money trying to upgrade the farm income of your provinces on Kyushu until you get up to these 3 territories of Chikogu and Hizen and Chikuzan. These 3 provinces, yes, go for it, but Higo, Hyuga, Osumi, Satsuma, Bungo, and Buzen, just don't do it. It's not going to be worth your time. As alluded to previously, Satsuma, which is essentially my capital province, is going to give my Nodachi samurai that are trained here an honor bonus. And for those of you who are not, for those of you who are new to this game, honor is essentially experience, and each point of honor is going to give +2 morale, +1 defense, and +1 attack for that unit. So it's a big buff. Honor is good. You want that honor. In addition to that, that synchronizes very well with the Shimazu bonus. Their advantage is that they get to recruit and maintain Nodachi samurai for a cheaper cost, and it's a hefty decrease. I think you get to train them for like 225 a pop or something like that. It's nice. And so, what are Nodachi samurai? Nodachi is a big 2-handed sword. You should look them up if you've never seen one before. They look terrifying. They look absolutely terrifying. And the Nodachi Samurai is Total War's first glass cannon unit. So what that means is high charge, high attack, low defense, low armor. It can get shot to pieces by archers. It can get hacked to pieces by pretty much any unit, but it's going to do a lot of damage on the charge, and you ideally want to use it as a flanking unit. It also has high morale, so even in combat situations where it is losing and you've made a mistake, and you have it fighting a fight that it should probably not be in, it can probably still hold on for a long time just because of its morale being quite high. So that is something that we are going to want to take advantage of. To get those Nodachi Samurai, I will have to build a sword dojo. To do that, there's actually an interesting mechanic in this game that's pretty unique to just this one unit. To build a sword dojo, you need to have one of your soldiers attain a certain amount of kills. I think that amount is 7, and that actually is tracked in the game files. You can actually kind of go in there and see your individual soldiers and how many kills they have. It's kind of neat. And I think that number is 7. And so you need your soldiers, one of your soldiers, just one person to get that many kills. And then you're going to get a little event video that's going to show up saying that one of your soldiers has achieved the Master Swordsman whatever thing, and he's going to be able to build a dojo. And yeah, you can build that sword dojo whenever you'd like, and then you can train Nodachi Samurai from that dojo. That's a very unique thing. Does not exist for anything else in this game. So it's kind of cool, but it's also kind of like a thing you have to pay attention to, because you have to try to find a way to get those 7 kills on a single soldier. The best way that I find to do that is to get my daimyo's unit, because he has a 10-man bodyguard unit of heavy cav, which means that it's in total an 11-man unit. and it's solid, you know, like it's a good unit of heavy cav in this early part of the campaign. 11 man strong is quite low. It's a low numbers considering that the default unit size is 60. But once you get that unit of bodyguards into, say, like a unit of archers, they probably will be able to get one of their guys up to that number of kills. And that person actually can be the daimyo himself. He actually can be the swordmaster slash daimyo of the faction. So that can be kind of cool. So right off the bat, there's a few things here. We have to start taking rebel territory. And as I said before, once you start doing that, it can kind of be like a magnet. Now, what I did when I first played this campaign for the very first time, I just attacked Higo and Bungo simultaneously because I was thinking, yeah, I can blitz Kyushu quickly, like super fast because it's just rebels. I think the Imagawa start off with Heizen right away, but other than that, it's all rebels. So I'm thinking, yeah, I can take Kyushu quickly. Like this whole island can be mine very, very fast. And I did that, and then my army in Bungo, like everything just collapsed on us immediately, including this huge stack from EO, like came over and took, you know, just forced me back out of Bungo. Like it was, I immediately realized my mistake and I rebooted the campaign. I was like, oh, nope, that's not how you do that. So what you need to do is you can take Higo on turn 1. That's easy enough. And that's something that I will be doing. So I can attack, well, I can talk about my units first. So I already talked about my Daimyo's bodyguard. This is the Daimyo and its Hatamoto, personal guard. They are handpicked and well armored and equipped. Their fast horses usually help them to keep the Daimyo out of harm's way, except when the Daimyo insists on getting into the thick of battle himself. And then there's the archers. So samurai archers provide an army with the ability to strike enemies from a distance. They are equipped with sword and bow, but are lightly armored and should avoid melee. They are best used as skirmishers to decimate massed infantry ranks from a distance without engaging in hand-to-hand combat. Now, being that they are samurai, samurai archers are a formidable melee combatant in this game. It's something that's interesting. In medieval Total War, you actually have archers that are just shitty at combat and they just get destroyed. But in this game, you have to kind of be careful. Like there are instances, especially when you are playing on expert difficulty, where you can send a unit of light cav into a unit of archers, and depending on the, you know, the whatever's happening in the engagement, you know, if the archers have the high ground or if they have a lot of honor, you know, that experience, they can win that engagement against your light cav, your Yari cav, your cav archers, you know, units that you think should counter samurai archers can sometimes get beaten, which is a really confusing thing to happen, but you have to remind yourself these are samurai. They are capable. So that's that. And then the Yari Samurai, for those of you who aren't familiar, a Yari is a Japanese word for a spear. So this is just a spear unit. The Yari Samurai is the mainstay of the samurai army. The Yari is a long spear, making these troops very effective defending against mounted opponents. So long as the unit remains well ordered, they are good against most troop types. And that's very true. The Yari Samurai is going to be a mainstay of my army throughout the entire campaign. It is that solid. It's a good, just frontline unit. And then here's its like little brother, the Yari Ashigaru. The standard Ashigaru is equipped with light armor and a Yari, a long spear. They are conscripted peasants and poorly trained, but often form the mainstay of samurai armies. When their fear of the enemy exceeds their fear of their masters, they often waver. They operate best when kept in tight formation, where their long spears give them an advantage, particularly against cavalry. Now, here's the thing with Ashigaru. It's really important to probably use a lot of them in the early stages of the campaign when you are a poor faction, because their upkeep is actually half that of every other unit in this game. Now, this is not something that you can actually see in this game. It doesn't show you anywhere. You can see expenses, and it'll show expenses by province, so you can kind of like just count it. But it's a really sloppy way of doing this. So to actually like find the upkeep cost of every unit, again, you can go into the game files. My understanding, if my memory serves, the upkeep of every unit is going to be 60 koku per year, except for the Ashigaru, which is going to be 30, because I guess they have, you know, smaller stomachs. That's going to help. Having Ashigaru and not having to pay them as much as all the other units is very helpful in the earlier part of the campaign. So they are going to be very useful. and I'm probably not going to train any more Yari Samurai until a bit later in this campaign. I'm going to be relying on my archers and my Yashigaru to get me through this initial part of this campaign. With that being said, there's something to keep in mind here. I have an heir, Shimazu Yoshimoto, who is 14 years old. He's going to come of age in 2 years, and it's very important to me that I have my heirs be mounted. I want them to be in Cav Archer units. That's something that I learned over time. If you watch my earlier campaigns where I'm playing this game, I figured it's good enough if they're in a unit of archers, but then I decided I don't want that. I want my generals, I want my heirs to be mounted so that they can get away if they have to. It's very important that your family survives, because if your family members die, that's the end of the campaign. That's it. Now, the Shimazu actually get a lot of family members, and it's a really big strength of this faction. Right now, they start off with Shimazu Takahisa, obviously the daimyo right now, and historically, I don't think he did a whole lot, but he's kind of credited with raising 4 brilliant sons. And unlike a lot of families in this time period in general, not just Japan, but like everywhere, a lot of families kind of bickered and fought against each other and waged war against each other. My understanding of the Shimazu brothers are that they were wonderful. They were wonderful teammates, co-leaders, generals, fighters. It was a really good core group of leaders that led the Shimazu to conquering all of Kyushu. That was a really powerful thing they had. So even though Shimazu Takahisa probably can't be, there probably is not a lot that you can say of him as an actual leader and general himself, you can probably say that he might have been a good father. You know, that's probably the one thing you might be able to say about him. But in any case, Yoshimoto will be of age in 2 years, and I want him on a horse. The problem with that is that I can't train any horses. All I can train is Yari Yashigaru, Yari Samurai, and Samurai Archers. That's because the only 2 buildings that I have is a spear dojo and an archery dojo. So how do I get a horse dojo? As you can see, I can build a few buildings here, but none of them is a horse dojo. For that, I need to get a large castle. This is going to be the second tier of castle that's available to me. It's going to cost 500 koku, and it's going to take 4 seasons to build. Now, this game does go in, each turn is a season, and of course there's 4 seasons in a year, so I'm in the summer of 1530. 4 seasons, this will be finished in the by the fall of 1530, I think. Yeah, so once I can have that large castle built, then I can build a horse dojo, and then I can start training cavalry archers, and I can have that ready just in time for my heir to come of age. It actually pans out perfectly if I just build those 2 buildings. Here's the thing though, I am poor. I start off this campaign with 1,000 koku, and it says I'm making a profit of 169 koku per year, which is just so low. It's so low. So the beginning of this campaign is going to be a little bit slow here, because I need to kind of save up some money to get these buildings going. I'm not going to train a single soldier until I train up that unit of cav archers for my heir. That's how important this is to me. So I have an emissary here. He's going to have a very important job for me. He's going to be getting alliances with every other faction on this map. And the reason for that is because alliances grant an additional 250 koku per year. So if I get an alliance with the other 6 factions, that's quite a bit of money. In fact, that's going to be most of my money is from alliances and like nothing else. So he has a very important job. Stay alive, don't get assassinated, go find other factions to trade with. In fact, I know in the Sengoku Jidai campaign that the Imagawa faction starts off with ninjas, and therefore if your emissary gets assassinated in the first like 7 turns or so, you know it's the Imagawa. I don't know if the Imagawa clan starts with ninjas in this campaign. So far, I've had, well, luck, I guess, in that my emissaries have not been assassinated in the first, early turns of the game. So I'm gonna hope that that holds true. knock on wood, we'll see. So he's going to be going up to Hizen because there's a port here, and I will be sending him over to northern Japan, which is where most of the factions start off with. The 1530 campaign is a weird one because the Mori clan does not exist yet. They have not quite taken over a key off of their Takeda masters. So the Takeda clan still has a key in this campaign. And then the Takeda still have Kai, I believe, which is their homeland. And then the Imagawa start off with Totomi. Maybe a Saruga, I'm not sure. And then the Imagawa also have Hizen. And then the Oda clan starts off with the Wari, and that's it. And then the Yosugi and the Hojo have like a couple provinces like Musashi, Kazuke. I don't know if the Yosugi owns Shinano, but they definitely own Echigo. Anyway, it's most of the action's up here. Like this is where most of the action is. In the meantime, the Oda clan is free to conquer central Japan, and without the Mori being here, the Takeda actually could make some progress down here in southern Honshu, which is kind of interesting because in the Sengoku Jedi campaign, the Mori clan just stomped the Takeda out of existence of their territories right away, and you barely ever see them. And if we can kind of see the Takeda survive here in southern Honshu, that'd be kind of a neat thing. I'm kind of like interested to see what would happen with that. But we need to make things right. We need to conquer Kyushu and make sure that this province or this island can be ours. So first things first, let's go and conquer Higo. Yes, we do want to declare war against the rebels. And then let's bring these units over as well. I have a 2-star general, and then a Yari Samurai, and then a Yari Ashigaru. My 2-star general being Shoni Tsukamoto, and he is an archer unit. Let's bring him over. And I will bring this unit of Yari Samurai over to Hyuga. And I will start building a castle right away. The nice thing about having castles in pretty much every single province, especially when you are expanding, is that it allows you to garrison a province with one unit, and if you get attacked, all you need to do is retreat to your castle, and then you can be reinforced the next turn, hopefully from an army that is, bordering that province that was attacked. That way you can kind of get by with just one army attacking, and then essentially having a few units garrisoning castles as long as they're close by that attacking army. So that's going to be the key there, and I can start building a castle in Higo as soon as I take this province. And that's going to be it for my money for my first 1,000 koku. That's going to be it. I did put in I need to make sure I'm building a large castle. That's very, very important. And let's see if I can bump up. Actually, so for taxes, since taxes are only counted in the fall or the autumn of every year, there's no point in having taxes high except for the autumn of every year. Other than that, make sure they're on very low and make sure that people are happy. Looks like that's going to be fine. And then the next turn, I can set my taxes to as high as I can get away with. So that's going to be fine. I don't think there's going to be anything else for me to do because, like I said, I'm not going to be training soldiers. And speaking of having some perspective, now that I've been playing some medieval Total War, first things first, man, I really miss how clean this map looks. It is so refreshing. It's so easy on the eyes. It feels so good to look at this map compared to medieval Total War. Gives me freaking headaches. I will say, over hundreds of hours of playing it, my eyes have gotten used to it. So it's not that it's like torturous to play the game. It's fun. I enjoy it. But this is easy on the eyes. This is nice. There's a lot of stuff going on in this map, and it's easy to look at. But on the flip side of that, in medieval Total War, it shows you, all you have to do is click on the province, it'll show you the units that's being trained and the building that's being built. And the fact that you have to click on the province and then click on the button to see, that's a lot of work. I know you can scroll through everything like this, sure, but still, that's a very nice quality of life improvement in medieval Total War, is being able to kind of click on the province and see what's going on. Now that's going to be it for this turn. I can finally finish it up and press end turn. And the rebels are retreating from Higo. Now there's going to be a hidden benefit to that a little bit later on. And now Higo's mine, which feels pretty good. Let's get right to work with building a castle here. It only takes 2 turns, which is very nice as well. That's another thing with medieval, is that it takes 4 4 turns, 4 years, because each turn is a year in medieval, to build a tier 1 fort, which just feels really prohibitive after this game. But again, there's some give and take. There really is some give and take. So let's set my emissary up here. He can make his way to Eisen. And there's really nothing else to do except keep... Oh yeah, want to make sure that I set my taxes for as high as possible. Punitive. Can I get away with it? Yes, I can. And let's actually send an Ashigaru to Hyuga and a Yari Samurai to Higo, because it is a better unit, and I can have my peasant unit garrison in this castle that's going to be finished being built during this end turn. So that should be good. Everything's set. Let's click end turn again. Castle's finished in Hyuga, and an average harvest is going to net me 389. Oh man, that's what I'm talking about. That's so low. That's so low. So 389 koku. That's not going to be enough to get me that horse dojo. So I will have to wait another year once my large castle is finished. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I mean, that's an average harvest for you. That's just how it goes. So I'm going to set my taxes back down to very low because it's, you know, no longer harvest season. And my emissary, you gotta get me some money, man. Go, go, go. Now that I have my castle finished here in Higo and I have my emissary here in Heisen, I can see what the units in Heisen are. The Imagawa do have 3 archers and 1 Yari Samurai and a 1-star general. In addition to that, they have another archer and another Yari Samurai. If you look here, you will see that their archer units have a bit of honor to them. The honor is going to be that number in the top right corner, and that is because their home province of Totomi does give an additional +1 honor to every archer that's trained there. It's actually a very powerful bonus. Now, here's the nice thing about honor is that not only does it give +2 morale, +1 defense, +1 attack, but it also gives a slight accuracy increase to ranged units. I don't think it plays that big of a role in archers. I think that plays more of a role in gun units, that accuracy increase, but nonetheless, that +2 morale is going to make them win their archery duels, and it's going to make it very tough to, you know, fight the Imagawa in the early part of the campaign, because as I said, I will be relying mostly on Ashigaru and archers in the early part of this campaign. Well, out of archers and Ashigaru, guess which unit I'm counting on to do the killing? It's not the Ashigaru, it's the freaking archers. And if my archers are getting beat 1v1 versus their archers, that can be a tough fight. So I'm going to have to think of something, another way to figure out how to, you know, beat the Imagawa. In the meantime, though, let's set my emissary over here, because we're not trying to beat them right now. We're trying to make friends with them so we can make some more money. Now that my emissary has found the Imagawa daimyo hanging out here in Surugan, let's give him a little chit-chat. He is a 4-star general, which is one of the better daimyos starting off with. Most daimyos start off with 3 stars, which is, you know, the average, I guess. I do want to propose an alliance. Definitely, let's get that. Please, please, please say yes. I've noticed that they all do say yes. In fact, we do have an Oda emissary on his way to go talk to my daimyo, which is going to feel very nice. And let's see if I can explain this in a comprehensive way. After years of trying to explain this without sounding like an idiot, what exactly do command stars do? Well, for each 2 command stars, it's going to give +1 honor for every friendly soldier on the battlefield. So for the army that my daimyo's leading, he will be giving +1 honor because of those first 2 stars that he has. +1 honor, of course, is going to be giving +2 morale, +1 defense, and +1 attack for every soldier under his command. It's good. And then you can see right here that that +1 honor right there for all of the units under his command. So what does it mean to have an odd number of stars then? You know, like, is that just a wasted 3rd star? Well, no, it's not actually. Here's the deal, is that for every 1 star, the general is going to be giving +1 honor to every unit within a certain radius. I think it's like a 50-meter radius, and therefore the units that are closest to the general will be fighting the best. So it's really important to probably, you know, obviously keep them alive and ideally out of combat, but nearby to where the fighting is thickest so that he can provide that extra honor boost. It's a very important thing to have, and it's nice to know this. So I think that might have been probably the most concise way that I've ever explained that. So I'm getting better at this, slowly but surely. Now that it is autumn, let's make sure that my taxes are highest, and I'm ready to go. Now I finally have enough money to start building that horse dojo, and yes, my Lord Imagawa has accepted my offer of an alliance. He points out that it will no longer be necessary to guard against shinobi or ninja along our borders. For those of you who do not know, the Imagawa clan does have their faction bonus is that they get cheaper shinobi and ninja, so they're the sneaky faction. And it's just kind of funny that they're like, you no longer have to worry about our shinobi and ninja. Like, no, we'll be good now. And it's like, okay, well, they're agents of the night. Like, you can do whatever you want with them. So we had a good harvest. That's nice. A good harvest is going to increase my harvest by 25%, and a poor harvest will decrease it by 25%. So this feels good. My understanding is that you will get less good harvests in expert difficulty and more poor harvests in expert difficulty. So 912 koku. We are rich. And yes, Lord Oda has sent an emissary, so I get to talk to him now.
My lord, the daimyo of the Oda clan wishes me to say that
Heck yeah, dude. Just give it to me. I want it. Yes. Alliance. Let's go.
good does compassion go with you.
You as well, good sir. You as well. So now we have two alliances. One with the Imagawa, one with the Oda. That's going to be an additional 500 koku per year. So I'll be making 1,000 next turn, which is going to feel very good. Let's see if we can increase that. Let's send... I feel like the Takeda Daimyo is always in Izu, so let me guess that way. Should I don't know. Yeah, let's just... I'm just going to guess. I'm just going to see if he's there. And now I can start building the horse dojo. It only takes 3 turns to build, and it's going to cost 400 koku. Let's do it. Let's get it going. Now, do I want to build anything else? It's a... let's see. 400... Actually, no. If I don't do anything else with my money, then as soon as that horse dojo is finished, then I will be able to train my heir. Yes. Yes, that will be perfect. So let's do that. Let's hang tight until that horse dojo is finished. In the meantime, let's just try to continue to get as many alliances as possible. Perfect. I did guess right. The Takeda Daimyo is hanging out here in Izu. So let's go talk to him. The Takeda can be a little bit schwarmy. It can be a little bit like So what's neat about this game is that the daimyos actually do have personalities coded into them. So there's a little bit of nuance to how they will behave on the strategy map. Now, the Takeda are a little bit not good at holding their word when it comes to alliances. But all I really want them for right now is their money, so I don't care. And I don't border any of their provinces, so they're not going to betray me anyway. Other factions that will, for instance, like be true to their word are typically going to be the Hojo, and when controlled by the AI, the Shimazu clan. We will see if that's true when it's controlled by a human player. Perfect. Love to see it. The Takeda have accepted my offer of alliance, and he, let's see, wishes the alliance to be strong and suggests that our troops, while numerous, are individually weak. We should invest in fast and heavily armored troops to smash our mutual enemies. It's just fun how each of the daimyos essentially offer the advice of fighting like they do, you know? Like the Imagawa are talking about shinobi and ninjas, and the Takeda are talking about their cavalry, and it's like, yeah, I get it. You like horses. Cool. I'm going to fight like a Shimazu, so just leave me be. Just give me your money. So that's going to be 750 koku per year off of alliances. Let's see if we can improve that. Let's go to Sagami. I think this is held by the Hojo. We'll see. Hopefully. And one more turn before the horse dojo is finished. Yes. Perfect. The horse dojo is now finished. That's what I like to see. Looks like the Hojo have sent their own emissary to talk to me. So, yes, you found me first. I love it. Let's get some more money. Yes, just give it to me.
My lord, while rogues and bandits plague both your...
It is too bad that the audio cuts out in the Steam version. It cuts out in the throne room here, but it also cuts out during the death poems, which is a poem that's read when a faction dies. And it's a bummer that that's not in there. I would like to know what the poems are. That'd be really cool. In any case, yes.
Would that compassion go with you?
You as well, good sir. You as well. So let's go down here. So we don't need to talk to the Hojo because they found us first. But what we can do is we can go up here and try to find the Yasugi clan. So we can do that. And yes, we can now train cavalry archers. Love it. Mounted samurai with sword and bow. They are fast, flexible, and pack a nasty sting. They are best used to charge poorly defended troops and to stand off and pepper slower units with bowfire. Love it. And then I can also train Yarikav. I'm not going to do that right now, but they are very useful units, and I will be training lots of them at some point. The Yari cavalryman is equipped with a short spear. It does not look short at all in that photo, which can be used for stabbing or slashing. They are lightly armored and are best used against unprotected missile units or other cavalry. They are the only unit on the battlefield capable of catching cavalry archers. It is for that reason that I always have them, once I'm to the point where I economically can afford them. But once that happens, I will always have them. I will always have Yarikav. It is so important to me. This is a part of my military strategy that doesn't matter if I'm playing Shogun or Medieval. I want light cav in every army. Once I beat the enemy army and I can't run it down, it feels so bad. It feels so bad because that's when you capitalize. Winning the battle is just half the battle. The rest of it is getting rid of all of those people that you just fought against and making sure that you can't fight them again. That's a big, big part of this. And having the fastest unit on the battlefield is very important. Also, having the unit that can also, as it says, catch other units of cav archers, also very important. The Yari, the spear gives an attack bonus against cavalry. So when you're using the Yari Yashigaru, the Yari Samurai, and in this case even the Yari Cav, each of these units will fight other Cav very well. What this means is the Yari Cav, even though it will lose against the other heavier Cav units, it'll hit above its weight. It'll do very well in that fight, and if it's supported by another unit, it can win that fight. So Yari Cav, I love using them. They have shitty morale. Both of the light cav units in this game have really bad morale, the Yari Cav and the Cav Archers. It's something that, it sucks. I hate how bad the morale is because it can make them tricky to use in situations where you have them behind enemy lines, you know, like you want your light cav to be used. Sometimes they will break without losing a single man, simply because the morale conditions on the battlefield outweighs them. For instance, if they're tired, or units will lose morale just by being closer to other enemy units without any engagements, without being shot at or anything. For every enemy unit that is around one of your units, they will lose some morale. And the reverse is true for having friendly units nearby to them as well. So that's good for units that are on a line, right? They hold the line, they are close by to friendly troops, so when the enemy lines clash, the morale kicks of friendly versus unfriendly kind of counteract each other. However, when you have these units of Cav Archers or Yari Cav operating behind enemy lines, they can sometimes, just because they are nearby other units, break and run away, and oh, it can be frustrating. So I've learned this is one of those things that it took me way too long to learn. When I'm upgrading my provinces that are used for training Cav Archers and Yari Cavalry, prioritize the unit or the buildings that increase morale more than anything else. Don't do weapon upgrades, don't do armor upgrades, morale. I need better morale on these soldiers. In the early game, they can still be useful just for chasing stuff down, But in the mid to late game, I really need to get better morale on these soldiers. So let's check. Is my heir... Yes, so my heir is 16 years old. He must have come of age this year. The heir will always come of age in the spring of the year that he turns 16. So it's always spring. In this case, he must have come of age 2 seasons ago, obviously, but I haven't trained anything. And here's the other thing to know, is that it's always going to be the way that the end turn is ordered is that the units that are the lefternmost part of the map will be trained first. And therefore, if you ever want to make sure that your heir is trained in a unit that you want it to be trained in, make sure that the unit in the province, that's your lefternmost province, is training that unit that your heir is going to be in. Or if you just want to be really safe, find that spring of the year that he's going to come of age and just don't train any other units in your entire empire except for that one province that's going to train the unit that you want your heir to be in. That's if you want to be super safe, which I do that all of the time. All of the time. Because even though I know that it's ordered left to right, I just don't trust the computer to look at the map the same way that I do. Like, I'm sure it'd be fine, but man, I just get nervous. I want my heirs to be in cav archer units. If it ends up in a unit of peasants or archers or Nodachi samurai just because their armor is so low, oh, it feels bad. It feels so bad. I hate it. So, he is of age. Let's train a unit of cav archers right here. Cost 500 koku. So, it's perfect that I have that. Punitive taxes because it is autumn. Let's go. And we are getting closer here to being able to attack our first province here in Shikugo. Now my son has come of age and he is ready to serve me, so that is wonderful. Shimazu Yoshimoto, welcome to the family, man. And poor harvest. Yep, crop revenues are down by 25%. The good news is I'm not making shit on crops anyway. Most of my money is coming from trade with other factions. So, meh. It'll be okay, I think. So here we go. Another 3-star general. Again, not bad. This is the nice thing about the Shimazu. They get some good, decent, solid, family members that are good generals. So let's bring them up to Higo, and then in the next turn we can be attacking Shikugo. That's going to feel good. And let's see, can we talk to the Yusugi yet? I think we have to go up to maybe Kazuke to find the Yusugi daimyo. And now that I have a bit of money in the bank, I can actually start spending this money on soldiers. Finally. Let's start off with some more samurai archers. I need more of these guys going. Currently, I only have 2 units of samurai archers, and that does not feel like enough. So let's get more of them. And do I want anything else going right away? I don't think so. I think I just want to spend my money on soldiers. And once I take Shikugo, I do want to spend some money on a castle as well. So I need to make sure I have some money saved up for that. Other than that, I think we are good to end this turn. We have now discovered the Yusugi daimyo, so let's give him a little chit-chat. See if he wants to join our coalition of forces that are just happy to make money off of one another. That's what we do. We're just thrilled with making money. Let's send my archer up to Higo. He can garrison this castle. Well, we send our forces into Shikugo. Now, previously I alluded to the fact that by making the rebel forces retreat from Higo into Shikugo, that could be a good thing for us. And that is because, in my experience, every time I attack Shikugo while having the Imagawa as allies, they come down here and support the fight, which is very, very good for us because my next target after Shikugo is Hizen. It's the Imagawa. I want this province. I want to get rid of the Imagawa in Kyushu so that once I take this province and this port is not active anymore, then they can't reinforce anymore. So that's going to be the key, right? Now, by having the Imagawa lose as many forces while fighting rebels, that can make this fight easier for me. As I said earlier, their archers are better than my archers. So this fight can be very tough. It can be made easier if I betray them during this battle. Now, you might be able to see that there's a river in this province. That means this is going to be a river battle. So we have to go over a bridge to fight the enemy rebels, which is going to create a very, very pristine opportunity for me to actually inflict a lot of damage against the Imagawa army. So let's see if I can actually pull that off in this battle. In the meantime, let's train up a unit of Yari Ashigaru, just because they are cheap and they are useful, and I don't think I want to spend money on anything else for the time being. And right on cue, the Imagawa forces, they're coming to the rescue, they're coming to help me out. And how many forces have they brought to the fight? They have brought 240 men to this fight. It looks like they did not bring any decent generals, so it's too bad that I'm not going to get a chance to kill any decent generals. But yes, the enemy forces are going to be 240 men, which is the same amount of as the Imagawa army, and I'm going to have 431 men. So let's get right into this and let's fight this battle personally. Isn't this the picture of teamwork? Two armies working in hand with a common goal in mind, to take the province of Shikogu. Or Shikugo. Yeah, one of those names. But here lies the rebel army here with its 2 archers, 1 unit of Yari Samurai, and 1 unit of Ashigaru. I will be setting my guys up to implement my famous bridge baiting tactic, which is going to essentially be used to bait enemy units into firing range of my archers. But you know what? None of that is really going to be coming into play in this battle, because the AI, when they are the teammates, man, they just like to go for it. They don't really care about anything about strategy. They don't care about Sun Tzu. They don't care about the art of war. They just attack that bridge and they will go, go, go. So I will be getting my guys ready in a nice, orderly fashion. I will be keeping my heirs unit far out of the action. He is going to be so far away. He should be in the back. He should be back in that forest, because in my practice campaigns, he has died every single time. Even there was a battle where I was just chasing down a unit of archers that had already broken. And in this game, when units break, they will fight through a unit that's impeding their way of running away if they have to. And at the end of that battle, I checked my unit of cav archers, and they had lost 2 men, and one of them was my heir. My son has died in every single practice campaign. So, in this campaign, you ain't doing shit. You are just gonna be back here, hanging out. Your dad's gonna do all the work. And then when it's time for you to lead your own army, that's gonna be okay. But right now, no. You stay in the back. You stay in the back and let your soldiers and let your dad do all the fighting, okay? And when I say let your soldiers and let your dad do all the fighting, what I really mean by that is let the Imagawa do all the fighting. They seem more than willing to be charging on over this bridge. It must have something to do with honor. I don't know what that is. It's just a concept that just really does seem to evade me. And they're just charging right on over. Their archers are like, what the fuck's a bow for? I'm just gonna charge on over with my sword and get in there in melee combat. My archers, to their credit, they're firing on the enemy for now. Good on them. And we are gonna let this entire Imagawa army cross, well, over to part of the bridge first. At this point in time, the enemy is taking a lot of casualties from my bow fire. However, their archers are also firing on into this mass as well. And once I start to see that the Imagawa have gained an advantage here, I will decide shortly here that it is time to turn our fire and start shooting into the Imagawa forces themselves. And now they're just taking horrendous casualties. I've decided to bring up my unit of Yari Samurai and my Ashigaru, because at this point the Imagawa are taking arrow fire from the rear, they're taking arrow fire from the front, they're also getting stabbed, and now they've tried to run away and their way is blocked. Their way is blocked. My Yari Samurai are going to form up here, and they are going to be in hold formation and hold position so that their spears will fight in 2 ranks. And then I will send in this other unit of Yari Samurai as well. I will put them on engage at will, and they will be able to sneak in through the gaps in the ranks and be able to help cut down this unit of archers here. And at this point, it's time for me to switch my archer fire back onto the rebel forces, because the Imagawa are going to get cleared up, but I still do have to take this province, and they have 2 relatively healthy units of archers still waiting for me. And that's gonna be it for the Imagawa. They are taken care of. They are killed to the last man. And at this point, I'm decide to pretty much just go for it. Send my spears over, send them across, and my daimyo will be right along to help out. He will help lead the charge from behind, that is. And you, son, no, don't even think about it. You are staying here. Eventually, I decide to put my archers into loose formation so that they will take less casualties from the enemy arrow fire. It does really spread the unit out so that these archers on the sides aren't really quite firing because they are out of range. I find that it's better to maximize your firepower by putting your units in close formation and making sure that they are all in the, effective firing area. But for circumstances where you just want to minimize casualties, more so over getting killing power involved, I find that loose formation is just fine. And now, after a little bit of dilly-dallying on the bridge, my guys are finally getting into combat here against the archers and the spearmen, and my daimyo is coming up as well. And eventually we will break these units. Yep, they are broken now. And now we can push on into this unit. They are running away as well. And that's going to be it for the rebel army here in Chikugo. And we will be able to get a little bit of kills running these units down, but a lot of them will be getting away as well. That went about as well as I could have hoped it for it to go, so that was wonderful. I did lose 53 men, which seems kind of high. I feel like my guys were kind of dilly-dallying on that bridge a little bit, which allowed them to get shot a bit more than I would have preferred, but you know what? Sometimes that's going to happen here, but the good news is I was able to do a lot of damage against the Imagawa. I was able to kill them to the last man, and of course I was able to take Chikugo, which is now my richest province. This is my province that makes the most money off of its farm income. Yeah, Chikugo is now mine. And good news, the Uesugi have accepted my offer of an alliance. That's wonderful. Treaty canceled. Let's see. Oh, perfect. So the Uesugi are choosing to side with me over the Imagawa, even though I'm the ones that betrayed the Imagawa. So, like a mountain, he does not change and remains my dependable ally, even though he literally just accepted my offer of an alliance. I love to see it. How about you, Hojo? Hojo? Oh, my bros. You also decided to side with me over the Imagawa. I love to see it. Let's see. Yep, Takeda, same thing. They chose me, and Oda, the Oda also chose me. Oh.
Noble Lord, excellent news! You have a son!
Fucking Christ. No matter how many times I hear that, it scares the shit out of me. That's so loud. That's so loud. So, interestingly enough, the Imagawa actually have a pretty sizable force still here in Hizen. Huh. That sometimes does not happen. That looks like the same size force that I essentially just killed in Chikugo, which is interesting. It's a little unfortunate. It's probably going to slow down my assault on Kyushu because Chikugo, the last time I played this practice campaign, there's only one archer. In fact, I mean, right now, like during this turn, this province was empty. And so I attacked it with just a couple of my units because I had to leave some in Chikugo to keep it happy and keep it, keep the population loyalty high. And then they brought in a unit of archers during that end turn, which of course I was easily able to kill. And then Hizen was now mine, or, mine at that point. In this case, what I'm going to have to do is take it a bit slower. Let's build this castle in Chikugo and let's just hang on to this, obviously. Wait for some reinforcements to come up as well. You go, and then, yeah, I'm still making 1,000 koku off of my trade because everyone sided with me. That's awesome. What's also hilarious about all of this is that once I do kick the Imagawa off of Hizen, we will get an automatic ceasefire with them because we will no longer border any of their provinces, and then we can just get another alliance with them and go back to trading with them, which is awesome, and I love it. It's hilarious, but I'm going to have to build up just a little bit before I can attack them here in Hizen. I have to slow down a little bit here, which is unfortunate because it already has been a pretty slow start to the campaign, but that's just how it is here in the 1530 campaign, and that's all gonna have to wait until next time. So as always, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and thank you very much for watching. This has been Conestep playing Shogun Total War. Thank you very much, and goodbye.